Imagine for a second, right, that you are standing on the deck of a massive, state-of-the-art ocean liner.
Okay, I'm picturing it.
And this is a highly profitable ship. We're talking about a vessel worth $420 billion. It's sailing along at top speed, just totally dominating its shipping routes.
Right, a complete marvel of engineering.
Exactly. And the crew running it, they are the absolute best in the world. But suddenly the captain just walks out onto the deck. And he doesn't go to the galley to cut costs. He totally bypasses the middle management.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, instead, he walks straight into the engine room.
Yeah.
And he starts grabbing the absolute best, most highly skilled navigators, the master shipwrights, the veteran engineers who actually built the engines, keeping the ship moving.
The essential crew.
Right. And he just starts tossing them overboard one by one,
Yeah.
right over the rail.
Wow.
And you're standing there thinking, like, why on earth are we throwing our most elite, mission-critical crew members into the freezing ocean?
That doesn't make any sense.
And the answer drifting down from the captain's bridge is because we need the extra weight capacity to build a spaceship instead.
Man, that image feels incredibly dystopian.
Doesn't it?
But, I mean, if we look at the raw data coming out of the tech sector right now in 2026, it is a near-perfect reflection of reality.
Yeah.
We are literally watching the most profitable companies on Earth deliberately cannibalize their core infrastructure.
And that ship, in this scenario, is Oracle. And those elite navigators being thrown overboard are thousands of the world's most brilliant cloud engineers.
Right.
So, welcome to today's deep dive. We're looking at this incredibly revealing piece of reporting from The Guardian from April 2026, detailing these massive, sweeping job cuts at Oracle.
It's a huge story.
It is. And our mission today is to figure out the why behind these headlines. Because, when you stack up the sources, the leaked emails, the financial filings, this isn't just a story about some struggling company desperately trimming the fat to survive a bad quarter.
Not at all.
We are looking at the largest, most violent reallocation of capital in modern tech history.
We really are. We're witnessing a $420 billion software titan forcibly ripping resources out of its traditional, highly profitable foundation.
Just ripping it out.
Yeah, to throw absolutely everything at the artificial intelligence frontier. I mean, it challenges fundamental assumptions about how corporate value is generated.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because before we can even begin to talk about the AI technology itself, right? The chips, the data centers, the sheer amount of money changing hands.
The massive hardware shift.
Right. Before that, we have to ground this in the immediate human reality. Because this is happening right now on the ground to thousands of people who are universally considered to be at the absolute top of their game.
You really have to grasp the sheer scale of an entity like Oracle to understand the magnitude of these shockwaves.
Give us a scope.
So this is a company headquartered in Austin, Texas, that before this restructuring began, maintained a global workforce of roughly 162,000 people.
That's a small city.
Literally. And the discrepancy between what Oracle is legally required to admit and what is actually happening behind closed doors is, well, it's staggering.
Yeah, let's talk about those numbers. Because our sources show Oracle officially filed paperwork acknowledging the termination of 491 remote workers in Washington State and Seattle.
Just 491.
Right. But the internal sources, leaking to the BBC, they paint a vastly different picture. They're reporting that around 10,000 people have lost their jobs so far in this wave.
10,000 people.
10,000. The gap there is insane.
Well, that vast gap between the official filing and the leaked reality, that's actually a classic feature of modern corporate restructuring.
How do they get away with that?
Companies are required by law, specifically the WARN Act in the U.S., to report mass layoffs in specific geographic locations.
Oh, I see.
So they filed the paperwork for the 491 jobs in Washington State, generating the small, seemingly manageable number for the initial news cycle.
It looks like a minor adjustment.
Exactly. But across a decentralized 162,000-person global workforce, you can quietly slice away 10,000 jobs without ever triggering a single, massive, headline-grabbing regulatory filing.
That is, wow. And the methodology is as cold as the numbers. Our sources reference the original reporting by Business Insider, who actually published the termination email sent to these employees.
It's brutal.
It is. I'm going to read it. It says, quote, After careful consideration of Oracle's current business needs, we have made the decision to eliminate your role as part of a broader organizational change.
Yeah, it's a masterclass in sterile corporate risk management.
Just totally
It
lifeless.
completely removes the human element, ensuring no legal liabilities are inadvertently created by actually explaining the rationale to the employee.
Right, I understand the legal shield, sure, but I have to push back on the fundamental logic of who is actually receiving that sterile email.
How so?
Well, firing the bureaucratic bloat is one thing. But based on the internal chatter, they are firing the very people who built the tracks, just so they can fund a new type of train. These aren't just redundant middle managers, right?
What's fascinating here is the precise profile of the workers being discarded.
Exactly.
The source material points us to a LinkedIn post by Michael Shepard, a senior manager at Oracle who actually survived this round of cuts.
Okay, what did he say?
He publicly states that this reduction in force is directly hitting senior engineers, architects, operations leaders, program managers, and technical specialists.
So definitely not junior coders.
Far from it. He specifies these are people with deep expertise in cloud infrastructure, government and sovereign cloud environments, and enterprise-scale systems.
Which is wild.
Let's break down why that is so shocking. For the last 15 years, if you had expertise in building a sovereign cloud, you were essentially tech royalty.
Okay, wait, for those of us who don't architect global networks on the weekend, what exactly makes a sovereign cloud so complex to build?
Right, good question. So a sovereign cloud isn't just a regular server farm where you rent some storage space.
Okay.
It is a highly secure, completely ring-fenced data center built to comply with a specific country's privacy laws.
So like a closed ecosystem.
Basically, imagine building a massive digital fortress inside Germany, ensuring that absolutely no data can ever cross the border or be accessed by a foreign government.
Right, strict privacy.
But while still allowing the system to talk to the rest of the world when necessary, it requires brilliant, meticulous engineering to build those walls.
So these are the top tier guys.
Yeah, these people figure out how to securely store the most sensitive data of entire nations and Fortune 500 companies.
They literally built the digital infrastructure the global economy currently runs on.
They did. And Oracle is looking at its payroll, looking at these elite, highly compensated architects, and deciding that their expertise is completely obsolete for the company's future.
Just obsolete.
They are liquidating human genius to buy physical infrastructure.
Which raises an incredibly obvious, but I think crucial unasked question for you listening.
What's that?
If these people are certified geniuses at building massive tech networks, why doesn't Oracle just retrain them to build AI networks? I mean, why fire them?
Because the skill sets do not transfer.
Really? They're both just networks, aren't they?
Not at all. Traditional cloud architecture is fundamentally an exercise in software engineering, complex network routing, and data management.
Okay.
But building the infrastructure for the AI revolution is largely an exercise in heavy physical logistics, supply chain dominance, and energy acquisition.
Oh, wow. So it's hardware versus software.
Exactly. Oracle doesn't need software architects to figure out data privacy right now. They need mechanical engineers, real estate developers, and supply chain masters.
People who can actually get the parts.
Right. They need people who can acquire millions of physical NVIDIA GPUs, secure the millions of gallons of water required to cool them, and negotiate with utility companies for raw gigawatts of electricity.
So the people who know how to write the code for the digital fortress are basically useless when what you actually need is someone to pour physical concrete and hoard microchips.
Essentially, yes.
Man, that brings us to the staggering multi-billion-dollar reality of what Oracle is actually trying to buy. Because understanding the mechanical shift from software to hardware leads us directly into the financial mechanics of this pivot.
Right. To understand the scope of the spending, we have to look at how an AI data center physically operates compared to the cloud infrastructure those fired engineers used to build.
Okay, let me try to visualize this. A traditional cloud data center is basically like an incredibly efficient, massive filing cabinet, right?
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it.
Like you want an old tax return or a photo from 2018, the server finds it, pulls it up, and sends it to your phone.
That's a great baseline. Traditional cloud computing relies on CPU central processing units. They're designed to do tasks sequentially, very quickly.
Fetch this file, then load this web page.
Exactly. Fetch this file, then load this web page, then process this transaction, one thing after another.
But an AI data center is doing something completely different.
Entirely different. An AI system, particularly large language models like ChatGPT, isn't acting like a filing cabinet retrieving a document.
What's it doing?
It acts more like a massive, power-hungry brain that needs to read every single document in the filing cabinet simultaneously just to write an entirely new original book on the spot.
Oh, wow. That sounds intense.
It is. You cannot achieve that with sequential CPUs. You need GPUs, graphics processing units, operating in massive clusters, performing millions of calculations in parallel.
So it's just a completely different machine.
Yeah, you can't just upgrade a filing cabinet into a brain. You have to build an entirely different, exponentially more expensive machine.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Because the financial numbers attached to building this new machine are, they are mind-boggling.
Oh, absolutely.
According to the article, Oracle is plotting a $300 billion data center deal with OpenAI, the creators of ChatGPT. $300 billion.
It's an astronomical sum.
And to pull this off, Oracle is taking on $50 billion in new debt.
Right.
And in their March financial filing, they admitted they expect to spend up to $2.1 billion on this 2026 restructuring plan alone. Meaning, they're spending over $2 billion almost exclusively on severance packages to fire their own people.
It is a phenomenal, almost unprecedented amount of capital in motion.
I need you to walk me through the math there because I am genuinely struggling to understand how Wall Street isn't punishing them for this.
Well,
Like, we are not in a zero interest rate environment anymore. Borrowing $50 billion right now is astronomically expensive.
it's very expensive, yeah.
They are gutting a profitable business unit, paying billions just to get rid of their top talent, and taking on crippling debt for a technology that is still largely experimental. It feels incredibly reckless.
You know, your reaction is exactly what traditional value investors are feeling right now.
I would imagine.
The source material notes that investors have grown deeply concerned about these expenditures. Wall Street fundamentally loves predictability.
Sure, steady growth.
Exactly. They loved the steady, recurring revenue from Oracle's traditional cloud and enterprise software. So taking on $50 billion in new debt to build out unproven AI infrastructure terrifies traditional analysts.
But Larry Ellison and Oracle's leadership clearly do not care about the short-term anxiety of traditional analysts.
Not at all. If we connect this to the bigger picture, what we are watching is Clayton Christensen's famous theory of the innovator's dilemma playing out at the highest stakes imaginable.
Refresh my memory on that theory.
The dilemma states that outstanding companies can do everything right. Listen to their customers, maintain high profit margins, and still lose their market leadership because they ignore emerging technologies that don't meet their current customers' needs.
Ah, so they are choosing to cannibalize their own profitable business before a competitor does it to them.
Exactly. Oracle's leadership believes with absolute, unshakable conviction that if they don't tear down their own profitable mansion to build the foundation for an AI data center right this second,
Someone else will.
exactly, a competitor like Amazon or Google is going to build a new AI city next door that renders Oracle completely irrelevant.
So it's an existential threat.
Yes. The fear of long-term obsolescence is vastly overpowering the fear of short-term debt or investor backlash. It is pivot or perish.
Wow. Pivot or perish. And that desperation, that boardroom mentality is highly contagious.
Yeah.
Because Oracle isn't making these billion-dollar bets in a vacuum.
Not at all.
Their severe moves are actually just a symptom of a wider panic and strategic contagion across the entire tech industry.
In any technological arms race, the greatest risk isn't necessarily making a bad bet.
What is it?
It's being the only one not making a bet at all.
That makes sense. And the herd mentality is undeniable when you look at the broader industry statistics. The Guardian piece cites data from Layoffs.fi, showing that by April of 2026, over 70 tech companies had already cut roughly 40,480 jobs.
That's just by April.
Just by April. And we aren't just talking about legacy enterprise software companies playing catch-up. The reporting notes that Meta, Facebook, and Instagram's parent company is planning sweeping cuts that could affect 20% or more of its workforce.
20%.
That is tens of thousands of jobs at one of the most profitable consumer tech companies on earth.
Yeah, when you see companies across totally different sectors of the tech industry, enterprise software, consumer social media, hardware, all moving in lockstep with mass layoffs, it tells you a new consensus has formed.
Yeah.
But I'd argue that consensus isn't entirely about technological necessity. It's also deeply performative.
Performative. Wait, you think they're firing 40,000 people for show?
In some cases, yes. Wall Street is currently rewarding companies that signal they are serious about AI.
Okay, I see where this is going.
If a CEO doesn't have a groundbreaking AI product ready to launch, the easiest way to prove to shareholders that they are reallocating resources toward AI is to announce a massive reduction in force.
Oh, man.
Firing traditional workers has become a crude, incredibly destructive signaling mechanism to boost stock prices.
That is so dark. Which brings us to the incredibly insulated class of people actually pulling these levers. We have to look at the leadership driving this, specifically Larry Ellison, Oracle's chairman.
Right.
Ellison is an absolute titan of Silicon Valley, currently sitting as the world's 6th richest person with an estimated net worth of $189 billion.
Just unbelievable wealth.
Unbelievable. And the source material explicitly notes that Ellison is a billionaire ally of Donald Trump.
Yes, it does mention that.
Now, to be clear to you listening, we aren't taking any political sides here. We're just impartially reporting the context provided in our source material to help you understand the major players and the immense concentration of wealth driving these macroeconomic shifts.
Right. And that context is vital, regardless of politics, because it illustrates the profound disconnect in risk tolerance.
Maybe.
Well, when you have a personal net worth of $189 billion, your horizon for measuring success or failure is fundamentally different from a senior architect in Seattle who just got a sterile termination email.
Totally different worlds.
Ellison and his peers are operating on a multi-decade timeline. They're looking at AI not just as a new product feature, but as the underlying operating system of the entire future economy.
They want to own the pipes.
Yes. They are willing to endure years of chaos to own the infrastructure of the 2030s.
So what does this all mean for the everyday worker? Like if you were sitting at your desk right now, whether you're in tech, finance, marketing, or logistics, and you see 40,000 highly skilled elite engineers getting discarded just so billionaires can hoard more microchips and cooling towers, it is incredibly unsettling.
It is. This raises an important question that synthesizing all these sources really brings to the surface.
What is that?
Are human beings actually being replaced by AI right now, or are they simply being starved by it?
Starved by it. Explain that distinction.
Okay, so at this exact moment in 2026, artificial intelligence is not necessarily doing the jobs of all these fired engineers.
Right. ChatGPT isn't building a physical data center.
Exactly. ChatGPT cannot architect a globally compliant, sovereign digital infrastructure. The disruption we are seeing is financial, not functional.
Oh, I get it.
Companies are ruthlessly reallocating their budgets. The human capital isn't being technologically replaced yet. It is being financially cannibalized.
The money is just moving.
Yes, the money that used to go into human salaries, benefits, and career development is being physically ripped away to pay for electricity grids, liquid cooling systems, and physical data centers.
We have basically entered an era where corporate boards view human capital as entirely secondary to AI infrastructure.
Exactly.
The brilliant engineer isn't the future. The engineer is just a piggy bank to be broken open to fund the machines.
It's harsh, but yes. And if Oracle proves that Wall Street will eventually reward this behavior, if their stock price stabilizes and grows because they gutted their human expertise to build an AI data center, every other Fortune 500 company in the world will feel intense fiduciary pressure to do the exact same thing.
It'll just be a domino effect.
The mathematical ruthlessness will become the new industry standard.
Which is exactly why you, listening to this deep dive right now, need to care about this. Even if you don't know the first thing about cloud computing or data centers.
It applies to everyone.
It does. If you work in any knowledge-based industry, Oracle's pivot is a blazing red warning flare. Companies are actively proving that they will discard their most elite, highly skilled, deeply specialized workers to win a hardware race.
Nobody is safe.
Your loyalty, your past performance, even your current profitability to the company, none of it provides a shield if your salary is standing in the way of a CEO buying another rack of AI servers.
It is a total paradigm shift in how modern corporations value human labor. And I think it leaves us with a rather chilling reality to consider as we look toward the end of the decade.
Yeah, what's that?
We've spent this entire time discussing how these tech giants are willing to discard tens of thousands of top-tier cloud architects and software engineers just to fund the physical infrastructure for artificial intelligence.
Right. The $300 billion gamble.
They are firing the builders just to buy the raw materials. But think about the logical conclusion of that trajectory.
What happens when it's finished?
Precisely. What happens to the broader global job market once that $300 billion AI infrastructure is actually fully built, plugged into the nuclear power grid, and turned on?
Wow.
If the elite, highly compensated technical builders of our current digital world are considered obsolete and expendable today, who becomes obsolete tomorrow when the machine finally wakes up?
Man, that is a heavy thought to carry with you.
Yeah.
We're watching the captain throw the world's best navigators overboard just to build a spaceship. Let's hope humanity knows how to fly it when it's done.
Indeed.
Well, thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive. As the ground shifts beneath our feet and the corporate world violently rewrites its own rules, stay curious, keep your eyes open, and keep questioning the changing world around you. We'll catch you next time.